I'm gonna unmute the lines and we're gonna do a share screen. Unmute the lines. Okay. Okay, a couple more people. If y'all can't, if y'all, like in the middle of something, y'all can't spin right now, just put it in the chat, okay? So, so we all on the round to chairman. We all know what it takes to be chairman, right? This is a leadership call. I'm gonna be dropping some nuggets, okay? So I hope y'all got y'all pen and paper. Before we get to that point, it's time for chairman scream, right? So chairman scream on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Chairman scream on 3. Like if y'all felt like, did y'all feel it? It'd be the energy for me. It'd be the energy for me. So before I get started, I just want to say that I love all of y'all, every single person on this team. Like y'all are really responsible for a lot of damn near all of my growth. Damn near all of my growth since I've been, in the business, since I've been around the people that I've been around. And I can honestly say that my mindset is completely different, like out of this world. I don't talk to the same people that I used to talk to before I got into business. I don't think the same way that I used to think with the people that got into business. Like my conversations are different. Like I move different. Like I see everything differently now. So I just want to say thank y'all for showing up. Thank y'all for being y'all. And 2021 is the year of acceleration, and it's about to be lit. So if y'all agree, drop some flames in the chat, and then we get started on this call. If y'all feel the same way I feel, right? With the family, right? Drop some flames in the chat. Like I really love y'all. Shout out to Shari. Shout out to Shari. Cool. Flames in the chat. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so tonight's leadership call, I really wanted to talk to you guys about faith and fear, right? And before I get into it, we have to really get clear on what a leader is, right? We learned yesterday from the call that leaders solve problems, right? Leaders are problem solvers. They're put here to solve problems, right? That's their purpose. The purpose of a leader is to solve problems, not only to solve your problems, the problems within yourself, but to solve problems that other people have. That's really, right? That's really the key. You're solving other people's problems. So solving other people's problems is a major responsibility, right? The president is obviously a leader, right? He's solving other people's problems, right? The CEO is a leader, right? He or she, they're solving other people's problems. They have a head position for a leader, for a reason, right? MLK was a leader. He was responsible for the civil rights movement, right? Where would we be without MLK? Like, who knows? I mean, I know it's a lot of stuff going on right now with the racial divide, but considering where we came from and where we are now, without his leadership, without him stepping up and saying, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is my purpose, and this is what I'm gonna do, and this is my vision, like, who knows, right? Jesus was a leader. He was the leader, right? The leader. Like he led 12, but he also led the masses, right? He's responsible for our salvation. He's responsible for making sure that we know what it is that we're put here to do, right? Making sure that we know how to see the vision clearly. We know how to move the way we're supposed to move, right? He came down, flesh and blood for that sole reason, right? That was his responsibility, right? So before you call yourself a leader, you really have to be clear on where you are first, right? Taking inventory on where you are first, right? You can't get to where you're going if you don't know where you are, right? So the first question I have for you guys, make sure you write this down. The first question is, do I operate in fear or do I operate in faith? Write that down. That's a question. An active question I really want y'all to reflect and ask yourself. Like, am I operating in fear or am I operating in faith? Right? In the business, outside of the business, like parenting, work, anything, even like social activities, right? People who I know, a lot of people are like scared of heights, or like they're scared to do certain things, they're scared of flying. Like, are you operating in fear or are you operating in faith? Right? That's the question. So let's get into it. We learned yesterday, or even a couple calls before, if you take notes, right? No shade, no tea. The law of two, right? T talked about the law of two yesterday, and he said that it's impossible. One of the spiritual laws of success, it's impossible for two things to occupy the same space, right? So you can't have faith and you can't have fear in the same space, right? You can't live in faith and you can't live in fear at the same time. It don't work. I don't care how you try to put it. I don't care how you try to like sauce it up, make it sound good, but it doesn't work, right? You're either faithful or you're going to be fearful, right? You have to make a decision, which is why you wrote down, do I operate in fear or do I operate in faith, right? That's a question you need to ask yourself, right? So temperature, right? It's either hot or it's cold, right? The Bible says the worst place you can be is lukewarm, right? The worst place you can be is lukewarm. Take information, for example. A lot of things we wanted black and white. There's no gray area, right? Nobody ever says, okay, tell me the truth, but like lie to me like a little bit, right? Like, I want you to tell me the truth, but I want you to lie to me too. You get what I'm saying? Like, nobody does that. You either want it or you don't, right? It starts with making a real conscious decision and being able to handle what the answer is or what the outcome is, right? The things that you have to do after that point, right? There's too much in between. Like, there's too much in between nowadays. It's too much back and forth, right? For everyone who was at the spiritual development retreat, we talked about like the roles of society and everything that's going on now in the school systems, right? And what they're trying to push on the kids in the school systems. It's like, it's too much in between, right? Telling kids, okay, well, you can decide if you want to be this, or you can decide if you want to, like, you have a choice, right? At like they babies. You feel me? Like they're babies. So for the ladies online, the hardest question, okay, if y'all bear with me, right? So the ladies on the line who's ever been like in a relationship, right? The hardest question I've ever been asked in a relationship is, what do I want to eat? That's the hardest question I've ever been asked in a relationship, is what I want to eat, right? Like, why is that the hardest decision? Anytime, every time someone asks me, or in a relationship and like outside of a relationship, right? But more so for me, the decision making is hard when I'm in a relationship, right? Because then like my next question is what? Well, what you got a taste for? Like, you ask me what I want to eat, but I'm asking you, okay, well, what you got a taste for? Like, I don't know, like, I don't know. Like, don't even bring that question up, right? Like, y'all can relate. That's the hardest question I've ever been asked is, or in a relationship, is what I want to eat, right? Okay, he asked me, okay, well, what do you want to eat? And I asked him, okay, well, what do you have a taste? Like, what do you have a taste for, right? Like, and even if we get, past that level one, it's like, okay, well, what are you getting? Okay, we decided on a place, but okay, well, what are you gonna get? What you gonna get? Like, before I decide what I'm gonna eat, like, I want to know what he gonna eat, right? And on the surface, it's always, okay, well, I need to know what you're gonna order. That way I don't order the same thing. That way I can eat your food and I can eat my food too, right? Like, that's real. Like, that's real. Like, that's me. But at the end of the day, my own decision, right? My decision should not be based on the actions of other people, right? Like, why is that so hard? Like, why is that a process, right? Why is that a process? Like, I'm making sure that I don't get the same thing that you get, right? Because I want to eat your food and I want to eat my food. But on a deeper level, right? Like, getting to the root, like, I'm fearful of regretting. Like, if I order this and then he ordered this and his food better than mine, like, I'm gonna be like, I shouldn't have got this, right? The fear of being like, the fear of regret, right? That fear of being unsatisfied And that fear of my expectations not being met because I didn't make the proper decision, right? That FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Like if I get this, I'm gonna feel this type of way. Like, damn, I should have got that. Right? How many of y'all can relate? If y'all following me, drop a number 1 in the chat, because I'm just trying to see something. If y'all following me, drop a number 1 in the chat. Because I know I'm not the only one. Okay, cool. Cool. So, what is fear, right? We all know that fear is false evidence appearing real, right? And being fearful only leads to stagnation. You can never grow. You can and you will. You will never grow. You can't. You will never grow properly, right, to your fullest potential living in fear. How many leaders do you know are scared to do stuff? Is your upline scared to do stuff? Because mine not. Just gonna put that out there. Leaders they're not scared. They don't have that fear in them like someone who doesn't, who's not there yet. They're on a different frequency, right? They move differently, they talk differently, they do things differently, right? Because they're not scared to do things. You can see that difference, right? Wisdom is being able to know the difference, right? To know the difference between this and this. That's wisdom, right? How many leaders do you know are scared to make decisions? Right? Think about it. How many leaders do you know are scared to speak up? Think about it. Right? How many leaders do you know are scared to go first? That's the key. That's the one for me. Think about it, right? How many leaders do you know are scared to take charge? Right? None of them. They're not scared, right? They don't have that fear in them. They're not scared, right? I don't know about you, but I don't know none, okay? Like, I don't know none, right? So what does fear in leadership actually look like? For me, my personal experience, it looked like making excuses. Fear for me looks like making excuses, like saying like I'm gonna do something, like knowing like what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be doing it, but just not doing it. Like, oh man, I gotta do this. Oh man, I gotta do this. Making excuses, right? For me, fear in leadership looked like making excuses and procrastinating. Like I was big on procrastinating. Like making excuses and procrastinating, like together, not cute. Okay, it's not cute. It's not cute. I'm just gonna say that it's not cute, right? I was fearful of what would happen like once I did, right? Like once I stepped past that fear, I was scared of like what I looked like after. I was scared of what was to come after, right? Because on the other side of fear is, to you, it's unknown, right? You don't know what's on the other side of something you've never done before, right? That fear of, well, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna look like. I don't know who I'm gonna be, right? I just don't know, right? So for me, fear in leadership looked like making excuses and procrastinating, right? And it might be different for you, right? Your fear in leadership, that fear for you, as far as leadership role is concerned, it might be being lukewarm, right? Fear for you might be prospecting, right? You might say like, yeah, I'm prospecting. Yeah, coach, I'm prospecting. Like, telling your upline, I'm prospecting, but you're not forming properly, right? We talked about forming those relationships, right? Getting to know the family, right? Getting to know the occupation, getting to know what they do for fun and how their money situation is set up, right? What they make for a living, right? Prospecting, but not forming properly, right? You have the information, but you're just not going at it 100%, right? Because there's fear, right? Or it may look like having the information and not applying it, right? Knowing what to do, but not doing it, right? You really have to find the root. And that's, man, oh, Jesus. You really have to find the root, right? You really have to find the root. That's the key. Because if you don't know, like I said, if you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you're going. You don't know what you have to do to get there, right? So write this down. What does my current situation say about my actions, right? You have to ask yourself these important questions. What does my current situation say about my actions right now, where I am right now? Like, what is it saying about me, right? How am I showing up for myself? Write that down. What does my current situation say about my actions? Right? Because, Jesus, whew. Y'all don't know. Like, what are y'all doing, right? Like, where you are now, you're responsible for. Like, nobody's responsible for it but you. Nobody's responsible but you. So how you show up for yourself is how you show up everywhere, right? How you show up for yourself is how you're gonna show up for your team. You can't if you can't show up for yourself, how you gonna show up for a team? Make it make sense. It don't. If you're scared to show up for yourself, you're gonna be scared to show up for your team. If you're scared to show up for yourself, that means you don't need a team, right? Who wants a scary leader? Like it just doesn't fit, right? I don't want to be, walking behind someone or following the footsteps of someone and they don't even know where they're going. Like they don't even have a vision, right? They telling you to do all this stuff, but they don't, like, they in and they out. Like it's not consistency, right? Leaders don't fear, right? Leaders don't fear. They don't fear responsibility, right? That's the key for me. They don't fear responsibility, right? Leaders, they don't fear their comfort zones, right? They don't have a fear of failing. It's another key for me. They don't have the fear of failing, right? There's no doubt. There's no real doubt in them, and they're not scared of their environments, right? Leaders have faith, right? Fear and faith cannot live in the same space. Leaders have faith. They have faith in themselves, and they have faith in their creator and faith in their purpose. And they know that regardless of what's happening right now, like I have a vision and I have to get to that point, right? Leaders know what they're called to do. No matter what happens, they still gonna walk that path towards what they're called to do, right? Because they know they're faithful, right? They're faithful. They're full of faith. They know what they're called to do. So no matter what happens, right? No matter how hard it is, or no matter how distorted the picture might be right now, you can't see it. Leaders know that I have a vision and I don't care what it takes to get there, and I'm gonna get there, right? If it's hard, I'm gonna do it hard, right? If it's easy, I'm gonna do it easy, right? But I'm gonna do it, right? The main point is to do it, right? So faith, what is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, right? Hebrews 11:1, like literally, like word for word, like it's in the book of life. The first one, faith is, right? He gave us the definition. It's the evidence, it's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, right? So when you have faith in something, you can't see it right now, but it's hope. There's hope in you, right? You're hoping for, right? Faith is really pressing towards the mark. Like I said, even if you can't see it right now. So it's like you either have faith and you either have faith or you don't. You either have faith in yourself that what you're doing is going to come to pass. What you're hoping for is going to come to pass, or you don't, right? That's why leaders that have vision boards, right? Leaders have goal cards, right? How many of y'all got a goal card? Where y'all goal card at? I'm trying to see something. Leaders have goal cards, right? Leaders have affirmations, right? Asking the questions, right? Asking it and being ready to receive, right? Leaders are locked in spiritually because they know the word is life. All my leaders are locked in spiritually. Like all of them. Okay? Their awareness is up, like up here. Up. The awareness is up, right? They're clear on what they're hoping for. They know it's already done. It's already done. I just have to put in the work for it to show up, right? It's already done. And the biggest thing for me, like when I first got into business, like my first couple calls, I remember T being on the call and he said like, yo, stop. And he always says this. He says, stop asking God to order your steps if you're scared to move your feet. And the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, he's talking about me. Like, he's too disrespectful. Like, and it hit. Like, stop asking God to order your steps if you're not gonna move your feet. Like, he's giving you the answers. Like, he's always near. You seek him, you'll always find him. If you're not, it'll always be open. If you ask, you'll always receive. Right? So stop asking God to order your steps if you're scared to move your feet, right? Like, that's not obedience, that's not trusting him, and that's not acting in faith, right? So like I said, if it's hard, then do it hard. If it's easy, then do it easy. But either way, you just have to do it. Really have faith in your assignment, right? That goes back to like when we talk about like building a business. We're not selling anything, right? If you really get that like up here, that we're not selling anything, we're actually serving and sharing this information, just like this information is changing us. And just like this information has been really detrimental to like our success, right? It's really been that core, right? Just like this information helped you, this information can help somebody else, right? So don't think of it as, oh, I got to get these people. And that call was something else. Like, oh, I got to get these people. Like, you're serving. Like, once I started, and it was so crazy. I was telling Shari yesterday that like before when I was when I'm prospecting, like on social media, it just was so flat. Like before I got the form training, because we had the form training, I just wasn't using it, right? I wasn't applying it. That's the word. I wasn't applying it, right? So once I started applying the actual form training and really forming my prospects, it felt different, right? The first night we got to LA on our spiritual development retreat, like I was pouring into this lady that I didn't even know. Like, she telling me her whole life story, y'all, like real life. And it felt good, like being able to pour back in her and give her, just that positivity, right? Words of encouragement, like telling her like, yo, like, I know you're going through this right now, but right, it just feels different, right? It feels different when people can actually like connect to you and really like tell you like, yo, like I had this girl tell me the other day, like, man, I knew it was the reason that I added you on Facebook. And I thought I knew her, like no cap, I thought I knew her, but I don't even know her. Like, it makes a difference. It really makes a difference, right? So really have faith in your assignment, right? You can't express faith in a team if you don't have faith in yourself. Like, people can smell it, right? Like, that's like dogs, they can smell when like you're scared, like they can smell you. Like, people can smell it, right? Just like like you see freshly printed money, you see money like, dang, that just came out. You just got that off the bank, right? That just came out the ATM. Or you smell it, right? You know what money smell like, right? You walk in the room, like, it smell like money in here, right? You can see a leader, like you can spot a leader out of group. You can, especially if it's a leader, then you got a group of non-leaders. I'm just gonna say that. Like, you can see it, right? Like, you can see the confidence, you can see the posture. It's a beautiful smell. Period. You can see the posture, you can see the purpose, and you can see the confidence, right? You can see leadership. You can see that on people, right? So closing out the year, I just really wanted you guys to reflect on where you are right now, especially because 2021, we're really launching something major, and it's really gonna be different than 2020, right? I'm super excited for Travel Trade Transform. So like I said, closing out, I just really wanted to reflect. I just really wanted you guys to reflect on like where we all are right now, individually and as a team. It's important that we're really clear on what it is that we want and what's going to take us to the next level, right? What is it going to take to get there, right? So the only fear you guys should have is the fear of staying the same, right? Because we already know what that feels like. We already know how that's going to play out. We already know what our comfort zones are right now. We already know we are like, we're with ourselves every day, every hour. We wake up with ourselves, we go to sleep with ourselves, and like our reality right now, right? So I love you guys, and thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a great night. And go back in the Telegram, and tell me if y'all got some nuggets in this. So I love y'all, and y'all have a great night.